Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome. Gosh, it's so nice to see you all. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is wonderful, and we've got people coming in from all over the country and all over the world today, which is really exciting. It's an absolute delight to see you all here. Hi. We are just still waiting for a few more people to join the chat as well, so I'm just going to give you all a couple of minutes just to get yourself settled. First of all, big question for you. I can see all your comments in the feeds as well today, so make sure you are commenting. We've just got some more people being admitted right now. But first of all, I want to ask you, how are you doing? On a scale of 1 to fabulous, where are you checking in today? Feeling good? Let me know in the comments feed so I can see, so I can celebrate you. How fantastic. 10 out of 10, that's what we love to hear. Fabulous. Yes, I love it. Oh, 5 out of 10, that's okay. Hopefully by the end of today, we will boost that. You're feeling fabulous, fantastic. Oh, some more comments. I can see your concentration faces coming in. 10.5, rocking it. Hey, look, that's a really good start. Now, if you are feeling a little bit flat, firstly, I have empathy for you. I have been feeling a little flat myself the last few days, but I am now ready to rock. And I want to ask you my next question, which is, who is ready to thrive in 2025? Me. Everybody. I'll tell you what, yes, I love this, me, yes. I'll tell you why. Look, we've had a really crazy last few years, right? We've had this situation where we've been in lockdowns, we've been in isolation. The way that the workforce has evolved is completely different now. And with New Zealand right now, we're right in the depths of what they're saying is a deep recession. But I say phooey. And why do I say phooey? Because people still need help. And if you're on here, it's probably because you have a gift, a skill, or some expertise where you can make someone's life better. And I want to help you tell that story, because you, my friend, and your gift, your skills and your expertise could be that missing link or that gap in somebody else's pathway to success. And through helping others, we equally succeed. But it all comes back to the stories that we tell, which is the focus of today's webinar. So firstly, I want to say to you all, welcome. Or as we say here in New Zealand, kia ora, welcome, and thank you for joining me. It is so exciting to have you here. Now, you're here because chances are you already know me. So today I'm not going to waste your time by going through all of my skills and expertise and why I'm here to talk about this topic on stories and how to use them in sales without feeling too icky. But what I did want to share with you today is that we've got an action-packed session. You can tell from my energy, I've got a lot of words and we've got a short amount of time, so I want to give you as much value as possible. I also want you to know that at the core of everything that I do, while I help people find their stories and I help them share their stories, in particular in their media and marketing or their sales process, at the core of everything I do is about finding your story first. It's about finding your confidence, your self-esteem, your unbeatable factor, your uniqueness, and celebrating that, because I can tell you right now, success in sales is 100% an inside job. And the other thing is that your neurology affects your physiology. So when we feel confident in here, it shows in our body. And when 70% of our communication is actually non-verbal, how you show up, whether it's on video, online, or even in real life, how you show up determines the type of sales experience you're going to have. So I'm going to be working on all of those things very gently today. And if you want more help with that, of course, you can reach out, get in touch, that sort of thing, etc., etc. Now, as we're moving into 2025, stories are going to become even more important. And why is that, you ask? Because stories are the thing that connect us. They're the bridge of human connection. And it all comes back to when we're kids. It all comes back to that beautiful moment where, you know, when you were a child and you probably had somebody really influential in your life who probably said to you, would you like to hear a story? Even hearing that now, it makes me just go, oh. I remember these moments. My mum was a beautiful storyteller, as was my dad. And I always remember those teachers, those wonderful teachers at school who would engage us in stories. And suddenly I was on an adventure, or I was learning things without having to learn them directly. Because have you ever tried to tell children information? Yeah, I know. If you have, you know it probably doesn't land. Well, adults are no different. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is how to use storytelling to get that moment where when you see kids, lean in, because the same thing happens for adults. And when you can get somebody to lean in the sales process, you are actually winning at life, you're winning the sale, and when they lean in, they actually want to know more. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, how this journey really started for me was, I remember when I was about 8 years old, and I would sit on the toilet and I would pick up the cans of toilet spray, you know, those cans of toilet spray, and I would sit there and I would read the description. Glade Floral Bouquet is your pathway to floral freshness in your home. I'm just making things up now. And I would sit there and I would think, gosh, this is wonderful. The words that they share make me feel something. And the way that I deliver it, it makes me sound like somebody off the radio or TV. And I knew I had this ability. And I thought, gosh, I wonder if everybody else knows just how powerful words are and how we can use them to excite other people. And what that did for me was it led me basically naturally into this pathway of performing arts, of sales. And I remember being 11 and walking around the neighborhood selling pens and plastic bags as a fundraiser so we could record the soundtrack of our school show. So I've always loved sales, and I've always done exceptionally well in sales as well. But the moment where everything changed for me as a business professional was this moment. It comes down to this image you can see here. This is the Whirlpool Crisp and Grill, the world's best microwave, I have to say. So I learned about this microwave when I was the MC at the food show, and I did that job for 15 years in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. Why I loved this job was you would have celebrity chefs up on the stage in this demonstration kitchen, and I would be standing beside them and I would be asking the dumb questions that the audience wanted to know, because actually, disclaimer here, I can't cook, just putting it out there. And I remember seeing one of our New Zealand celebrity chefs, Simon Galt, who was one of the MasterChef judges. He was demonstrating how to actually roast a chicken in this microwave. And I went, hang on now. Have you ever tried to cook chicken in a microwave? Because if you have, you'll know it comes out grey. It comes out looking a little bit alien. It comes out sludgy. It's disgusting, or it can come out really dry. It's just gross. But in this microwave, when you put in a whole chicken, it came out crispy skinned. When he cut it open, all this beautiful steam came out. It smelt amazing. And inside, all of the meat was all, you know, that perfect white. It was succulent. It was juicy. It was cooked perfectly through. And he did that in just 25 minutes. And I remember taking all this information and thinking, how would that work for me in my life? How would that change, considering I can't cook? How would this change my life? And so I remember reflecting on it. And then in between every presenter, I would have 15 minutes where I would get up and I would talk about what I'd seen with this microwave and just how good it was. And I repeated the same process over and over again. And I would see people get up and leave and get up and leave. And I thought to myself, gosh, I'm either really boring them and this is crap, or this is actually working. I wonder what's going on. And after a couple of days, the head of sales for Whirlpool came up to me and said, Monique, what are you doing? And I said, why? And he said, because every 30 seconds we have somebody coming up from this theatre, coming over to us and buying an $800 microwave. Now, when you can buy this microwave, well, any microwave in, say, the Warehouse or Kmart for $99, an $800 microwave is a pretty decent sale. And I said, and when he said to me, what are you doing? And I just said, whatever I'm doing is working, so you're welcome. And he loved me so much for driving all these sales. Apparently, I even upsold a $3,000 kitchen package at one stage. But I never felt like I was selling. I was sharing value. And they were so happy that they gave me one of these $800 microwaves, which I still have in my kitchen right now. And by the way, it is fantastic. So fully recommend it. Check it out for yourself, the Whirlpool Crisp and Grill. I'm not paid to tell you that. But what that's done, this understanding of my excitement and really understanding how to tell a story and how to get other people excited and how to paint pictures, which is really what storytelling is all about, that enable people to feel and to connect or put themselves in that story. That's been the key to my sales success. And what that's done is that's actually enabled me to work with some of New Zealand's and some of the world's biggest brands. And that's enabled me to generate millions of dollars worth of sales for the companies that I've worked with. I wish it had all been in my pocket. That would have been amazing, but it really has enabled me to work with some of these brands that you can see there. So some of the biggest in New Zealand, DeLonghi and Kenwood, well, they're actually Australasian brands. The biggest was, in fact, Dilmarti, and through one live stream alone and telling some stories, we reached over 1 million people, which was just fantastic. I've worked with lots of charities. As you can see, Diabetes New Zealand, I'm doing a lot of work with the Heart Foundation moving into 2025. I've worked with building companies. I've worked with skincare. I've worked with tourism companies, insurance, even Xbox. And every single job that I've done has come back to the power of storytelling. And I'm really excited to share that with you today. So there's 3 things that we're going to cover. So as you can see on your screen here, we're going to cover a little bit about the science behind why stories are your best sales tool. So we have to move out of this old school way of thinking about sales. And I was trained in things like the presumptive closes and all the different types of closes and the traditional storytelling patter that you use, or the sales patter that you would use to get somebody across the line. All of that's left. We have to start thinking about building relationships first. We have to start about active listening. And if we're doing a live sales call, we have to remember that it's the 80-20 rule. 80% is actually getting that person talking about them, their needs and their challenges. And 20% is the stories that we share that helps them make the most informed sales decision possible. So I'm going to talk about the science. We're going to look at a really simple framework, which I've already demonstrated. There you go. It was quite sneaky, wasn't it? Which you can use to craft sales stories and also stories about yourself, or you can use it for testimonials, and you can use it in multiple ways, whether it's for video content, whether it's an in real life sales call, whether it's for a blog, website copy, it works. So I'm excited to share that with you. And then I'm going to share with you real world examples of how you can use it in different scenarios. It even works for if you're a member of BNI and Go. There's some of my BNI alumni here on the call today. It even works for that. If you need to craft a better 1-minute pitch, this will help you with that too. So we're going to jump straight in. My first thing to you is a question. Why do you think stories are important for sales? And I would love to see your comments in the feed. You've had a lot of banter from me, so it's time to get you guys thinking a little bit and sharing. Why do you think stories are important for sales? Go, go, go. I can see your concentration faces looking good. And those of you who are sharing the screen with someone else as well, I can see you chatting to people and stuff. Yeah, good to see you, good to see you. Breaking the ice makes the clients feel important. Absolutely, helps build rapport. People relate to other people, that's right. We've got to humanize the sales process. Relates to the audience, makes people feel like they're involved 100%. Love that. Looking good, all good comments. Perfect. So my approach to sales is that what I'm trying to do intentionally all the time is tell a story that enables me to create a brain-to-brain connection. I do not believe that we just share words and non-verbal communication. We actually have the ability to affect other people's emotions from brain to brain. And at the core of it, while people will go and research data about a product, a service, a brand, or even about you, they will still buy based on how you make them feel. 100% of the time. And again, storytelling works because it takes us back to our childhoods, where there's that beautiful moment of somebody who was a beautiful influencer in our lives that goes, let me tell you a story. That moment, I can't stop from leaning in myself. I'm so excited about it. So we're looking for all of these triggers that make people feel, because when they feel, it becomes real. And your job as a storyteller is to paint a picture or a scenario of what a challenge might look like, and then to be able to resolve that for them. So they go through this huge torrential download of emotions that they feel safe and that they can trust you. And stories are the best way to do it. And I don't know if you've read many children's stories, but children's stories are fantastic because on one hand, they're painting this picture of the scenario. Underneath it all, in the subtext, is actually the valuable lesson that the author wants that child to take away. So story selling, which is what this approach is a way of being able to deliver content, but underneath it all is this key piece of advice or this key life lesson or a call to action that you never actually have to say because it's implied. And it's a much gentler way of approaching sales and takes away the ick. I want to share with you too that storytelling works because it also engages all of the learning styles. And this is what really makes it unique. And as an example, if you think of a spreadsheet, can you recall all the details on that spreadsheet? Probably not, but you probably can recall one of those funny stories that a client or a co-worker has shared with you. So it enables us to take in the information in the way that we are actually engineered to do. So when we are children, we are starting to form our understanding of the world around us, and the only way that we input that data is through all of our senses. So the same thing happens when we tell stories. We start to give people enough information that they can formulate that picture. They can see what it looks like, what the pain point looks like. As you can see, I'm indexing it in my brain. I can see the situation. I can start to hear the sound of the person telling the story. But at the same time, when we activate those feelings, that's really when it becomes real. And I'm going to show you behind the veil of how that all happens right now. It all comes down to these things. The role of the neurotransmitters in storytelling cannot be underplayed or undervalued enough, or valued enough, I should say. When we tell stories, it actually releases all of these powerful chemicals that affect the decision-making process. So we've got dopamine, which triggers excitement and attention. So when you show a solution that works, people will get a dopamine rush. It's the hero's journey. Oxytocin is the social bonding chemical. So when we share something that creates empathy, suddenly people feel that empathetic sense and they want to lean in. And that's what we're looking for, that lean in moment. Endorphins actually create happiness. So I don't know if you've ever seen that viral video of a bride who's giving her vows and then she gets the giggles. That's actually an endorphin response. And every time you tell a humorous story, you are creating that or activating that endorphin response in someone else. And then you've got things like cortisol, you've got adrenaline, you've got serotonin. Those are all mood chemicals. We have to be really careful with those, but they are intensified through challenges, through high stakes activities as well. And I'm going to show you how all that fits into the storytelling framework that I'm going to share with you today, the hero framework. Now, in real life, again, I come back to stories with children because that was a great test example for me. I was a children's entertainer for 15 years and I ended up becoming a lecturer in the power of storytelling for children's brain development. So I am really, really passionate about the topic. And there is a wonderful story that I would use with educators to demonstrate the power of direct information through the story, but the undercurrent or the subtext of that messaging that comes through and how it works and how it can work for you in sales. So here is one of my favourite stories, Harry McCleary from Donaldson's Dairy. And if you haven't read this story, I would suggest you do. Watch a video on it online. It is a wonderful story. It is about these 6 dogs that are led by Harry McCleary, and they all go off on an adventure for the day, and they have a challenge. They meet Scarface Claw, who is the toughest Tom in town. I won't give you all the details. I won't do the spoiler. But when I have done this story, and if you're a parent or a grandparent, you've probably read this at least once or twice. The great thing about this story is that when I was delivering it to the teachers, I would say to them, look, you have a look at this. What do you think is the actual value of the story? Is it just a time waster or is there something more? To which the teachers would always ask me, oh, well, it's about diversity because look at all the different dogs. Well, on one hand, yes, it can be about acceptance and diversity. Is that implied? I don't think so, because we have to think, what is the intention or the tone or the message underneath this story? And then other people would say, well, there's a lot of rhyming in this, so maybe it's about brain development through the rhyming and through the repetition. Well, yes, all of that helps. But in this story in particular, there is a message implied underneath it, which is the message that children indirectly take away, just like any other fable or kid's story that you can think of. So in this story, it's the message that you can go off on an adventure, go off and enjoy the world with your friends, and always know that if something happens, you've got a safe place to come home to. Beautiful, without having to say it in those words, because a child's brain will never ever take on all of those words. But under the guise of a story, they get that message loud and clear. And because those stories are repeated, it really fosters that knowledge and that messaging in the child's brain. And the same thing happens in media and marketing. Sometimes people think I shouldn't be telling the same story over and over again. That is phooey. It takes 8 to 11 touch points in digital alone to get a message across. So it's really important to think when you're sharing value, if you're going to go down that pathway of doing video content as an example, it's okay to say the same thing in lots of different ways because that message will get through somehow and you need those multiple touch points. And also, I want to say the marriage between in real life showing up and video content is really, really important. If you're showing up and people like you, what are they going to do? They're going to Google you. They're going to look for you. Oh, I believe we've got another person ready to jump into the chat there as well today. Hello to you. Welcome, welcome. So it's really important to ensure that you've got as much video content online to support who you are, or at least some. Start with some to support what happens when people find out about you. They will Google you. So make it worth their time. Right. So this is probably one of the greatest things. I said to you that people tend not to remember data on a spreadsheet, but they will remember a story. Here is the one piece of data I have remembered for the longest time, and I will continue to remember. Stories enable your message to be remembered 70% better. And it is purely because people can easily recall a funny story from a friend, and it's harder to remember details on a spreadsheet. It's just the way that the brain is wired. And it comes down through the evolution of communication and the fact that for years and years and years, we have been a storytelling mammal. We want to share information through stories, and it's a much better way to demonstrate value. So if you want your message to stick, your job from today on is to start considering, what are the stories I want to tell? What are the stories that I could tell? What are the stories, most importantly, that people need to hear about the value that I give or the value my clients have received? That's the most important thing. So from today, I want you to remember, facts tell, stories sell. Boom, mic drop. If I had a mic, I would literally drop it on the floor. It is that simple. And your job is to think, how am I going to use stories now? Which stories am I going to use to create that bridge of connection, to activate those neurotransmitters so people feel, because before they even get in front of you, 70% of their buying decision is already made. Your job is to show up and make it worth their while. Right. Why is this important in business? Because pretty much every big brand adopts a person to become their face or their storyteller. So here in New Zealand, the Briscoes lady, she was my idol for many, many years. So her name's Tammy there on the top left-hand corner. I love her. I think she's great. Even without her having to talk about prices, it's her energy, it's her vibe, it's the stories that she tells about products that are fantastic. And what I love too is that there is other content about her available. So you can hear her talking about the work that she's done for the last 30 years, I believe it is, with Briscoes, which is amazing. Over on the right, you'll see there Tina from Turners. She's a comedian here in Auckland, and she's now become the face of the Turners campaign. Again, as one of you said in the comments, people buy from people. People want to connect with people. So stories help us humanize brands in a way that data cannot do. Down there on the left-hand corner, you've got my mate George Clooney, who is the face of Nespresso. Often an ad campaign will talk about him, how to be fabulous, and he never really does any direct sales at all for Nespresso. It is implied in the subtext that if you drink Nespresso, you will be as cool as George Clooney. And finally there, I put in a bit of a nod to Johnny Depp. He has been the face of Sauvage from Christian Dior for the longest time. And he has been so influential, whether you like him or not. He's been very influential in the Dior campaigns because of his rock and roll kind of status. And it's almost implied. He doesn't even have to say a lot. He can just be on video, like sharing a bit of music and going, yeah. And people, through that, that's his story. He walks his story. He shares his story in his tattoos. Everything about him is a story. And again, it's implied that if you wear Sauvage, you too will be rock and roll cool like Johnny Depp. And it comes back to this thing that in part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, people want to still connect with people. It keeps us alive. It keeps us connected. We cannot survive without other people. And when we've got something like AI coming in and threatening to take over all of our jobs, the one thing that AI will never be able to replace is human-to-human connection. So I believe by the end of 2025, AI will probably take over 85,000 jobs. That's a stat that I read yesterday. But the reality is you can hug a computer, but it's weird. But you can hug a person and it feels good. So that human-to-human connection will never, ever be able to be replaced by AI. So Now is your time to start storytelling. So we're going to get into the juicy bits now. But first of all, to be able to help you, I have another question for you, which is, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to using stories in your sales process or your media and marketing? I want to see all of your comments there in the feed. And hopefully I will get lots of juicy comments. What is your biggest challenge with your using stories in your sales process or your media and marketing? Oh, look at your thinking faces. This is brilliant. And it's so lovely to see faces too. I love it. Making it relevant to the client. Excellent. Great. Boy, have I got a challenge for you on that. Showing why what I do has value. Awesome. Understanding the audience you're going to pitch to. Need to think of an avatar. Boom, that's a massive one. Overcoming reluctance to recognize. I missed the end of that. Knowing which stories to use, which ones relate to the relevant underlying content. Okay. Overcoming reluctance to recognize the importance of health and safety. Awesome. I think a great way to overcome that, because it's quite a serious subject, start with humor. Because I know you are a funny human and you've got a great energy and you've got lots of good stories. Start with humor. Make it fun, because it's almost like the soft sell. It's like, before going in to have your tooth out, let me tell you a story, young man. Wow, about the tooth fairy. It's great. So go with humor. Giving them something they might not have known they need. Oh, that's great. I love that comment too, because there are different parts of a sales process. There's lots of people that come into sales and they are called the just-in-timers, and they need a quick fix immediately. But then there's lots of people who may, as an example, and I know your work, they may feel a little bit stuck in their life and they don't actually know what's going on, and they might not even know that they're stuck. And it's through the demonstration of our stories that we start to highlight, here's how I was stuck. And then indirectly, the people in the audience will start to go, actually, you know what? I feel stuck too. So often people will turn up to an event or to a webinar, and they're not quite sure why. But they just knew that the topic resonated with them. And it's actually once you get into that body content that people start to go, the more stories we share, the more that they start to go, oh, yes, okay. Yes, this is starting to resonate with me. Okay. Wow, I'm getting value. And through getting value, that's when your job as a speaker is to take them through to the other end. And that was directly relating there to your comment, Heather. So the biggest challenges that I most often see, there's three. First of all, people aren't sure what to say or how to say it. The second thing is they're not sure about why they should be saying it. And the third thing is actually confidence. It comes back to fear of judgment. It comes back to self-limiting beliefs, self-limiting thoughts, thinking, gosh, but who am I to actually talk about this? Who am I to be sharing these stories? Do I have any expertise? Oh my goodness, what is even my name? So that can be part of it, or it can be as simple as, oh my goodness, I don't really know if I have any skills or any value for somebody else. So there's lots of that sort of imposter syndrome that creeps in. So, and that comes back to fear of judgment. So I'm hoping today that I'll at least be able to give you a little bit of a framework that's going to help you start to address this. And then if you want to do the deeper work, seriously reach out. We can do some work together, and I'd love to do that. The first thing, and this was actually highlighted in one of the comments there, is define who you're talking to. Here's a tip from me: define who you're talking to and where you're going to be talking to them from, or what platform. So first of all, I want you to get really clear about the avatars that you want to speak to. If you're not sure what avatar means, another term for it is audience. Who is the ideal person you want to speak to? And the reason why I'm saying that is I have done talks for teenagers, and the way that I speak to them is, of course, going to be very different from business leaders. So being really clear about your audience, and it doesn't matter if you're talking to people online or in real life, get really clear about that. And again, if that's something you're stuck with, message me and let's chat. And the other thing I want you to define is, are you speaking to them largely in real life? Are you speaking to them online through webinars and Zoom calls, or are you speaking to them through the content that you create and share? These are all very different, very different. You can use the same story, but they're delivered slightly differently. So for example, today, because I have an audience, I am speaking to you with more, I'm filling up with lots more information, excuse me, lots more information and trying to paint more pictures where I can, because I know that there is a human at the end of this call. If I was talking about the same topic, I would probably, if I'm doing a YouTube video as an example, the whole thing would be done in 11 minutes. Because it would be a little bit more succinct, because I know that people have limited time. Why 11 minutes? Because 11 minutes is the sweet spot for longer form content on YouTube. And the rest of the platforms, I would be doing 1 minute snippets, because thanks to TikTok, attention economics have changed and our attention span is shorter than ever. So being able to condense key points down into 1 minute is really, really important. And the formula I'm about to show you works for all of these platforms. It also works for blogs, it works for when you're writing content for social media, it works for if you're doing a 1 minute pitch at your BNI networking group, it works for pretty much everything. I've even used this formula to write part of the content on my About section on my website. And so I'm going to show you through that today and the different ways to apply it. So are you ready, everybody? Because we're going to dive on in. I'm so excited about this. I have created this for you. Woohoo! Can you tell I'm excited? This, my friends, is called the Hero Framework. And it is this simple. You can use this for if you're a keynote speaker. You can use it if you're doing a pitch. You can use it for pretty much everything. You can use it for in real life sales calls. You can use it for video content. You can use it for everything. And it all starts here. H stands for the hook. It is really important when you're a speaker to have a really strong hook, and it's the same in sales. How are you going to help somebody? By getting their attention first of all. And if you put this in the context of a film, what you're doing is you are establishing the location, you are establishing who the lead character might be, all of that stuff. So starting out, and as an example, I was 8 years old when I realized I had a gift for sales. Like, that's quite a cool hook. When I've said that before, or sometimes I'll open a keynote and say, I was born with 1 million words inside my body. And people kind of go, oh, what does that mean? So look for that hook. It means looking for a bold statement. It might be a statistic. Did you know that right now, by the end of 2025, 85 million jobs are going to be replaced by AI? Mic drop. Like, we're looking for that hook that grabs people's attention. It could be a relatable, a moment, it could be anything. And it has that same effect as the, shall I tell you a story? It makes people want to lean in. And in your social media content, it will make people stop. So it's really important to start playing with different hooks. The next thing you want to do in your story is to share the emotion. And this, what I'm meaning with this is the struggle, the challenge, or the moments of doubt that may have happened in your journey or in your client's journey. And if you haven't had a client like that yet, make it up. It's okay. I'm not judging you. For the purpose of this exercise, start playing around with ideas that will work. The next thing that you want to do is you want to look at the resolution. And this is the moment where you've painted that pain point of what that situation or that challenge looks like. So people are starting to see all of that picture, and they're starting to feel it. Then they want to know, what do we do? And again, it's another lean-in moment. And the TED Talk formula relies on lean-in moments as well. People want the audiences to lean in. So you need to be able to demonstrate the solution or a moment of change or a breakthrough moment, which is, again, when they lean in. And then finally, when you've got them to that stage, that is 75% of the sales process done, by the way. At the very end is the outcome. And the outcome is really important because this is the result, the transformation, the happily ever after moment. This activates dopamine, the reward center, which you get the same feeling when you swipe a credit card or, through your FPOS, that sort of thing, when you pay for something, add to cart and you pay for it and check out. Or it's the same feeling. And people actually buy the value of that transformation. That's what they buy. So if you know that you've got a skill or a product or a service that can really transform somebody else's life, that moment, really talk into the value of that transformation, either for yourself or for your client. Now, how do we apply this in real life? By the way, if you haven't screenshot this already, I'm going to get Pete to put it up on the full screen. There you go. Screenshot this, because I'm now going to show you how this can be applied in every sector. Well, I'm not going to do every sector today. We're running out of time. But I will show you some examples. So here we go. The first one. Why did you come to this? If you were going to sell this workshop, I felt like I was doing everything right, but no one was buying. I was really frustrated, doubting myself, and I felt like giving up. Then I discovered a simple shift through Monique Bradley. I started telling stories about my journey and what I'd learned. And within 30 days, I signed 3 new clients just by being more real and relatable with my audience. Now, what is interesting about this is there is no hard sell. It's just a story. And yet, I know for a fact that I have had one client, well, I've had several clients now who have done this, and one landed a $50,000 sale, standing at a sports game, unbelievable. Another one, actually a painter, he came up to me, he's from our BNI chapter here in Auckland, he came up to me and he said, Monique, gosh, the story thing really works. And I said, why is that, Curtis? He said, oh, well, I told this story to this lady and man, that got me a $30,000 sale. So it really does work. And in fact, I decided to go through into different sectors and see how we can apply the same methodology into different organizations, or different niches, I should say, as well. So I'm going to take you through these really quickly. Feel free to screenshot them if you want different examples. So here we go. Let's dive on in. The first one is a plumber. Imagine waking up to a burst pipe flooding your kitchen at 2 a.m. You feel panic, stress and frustration as water soaks your floors and threatens your appliances. But then you call us. Within 30 minutes, our expert plumber arrives, shuts off the water and starts the repair process immediately. The flood's under control and you can finally breathe easy knowing your home and your sanity are safe again. No big call to action. You don't need it. Let's move into the personal trainer. 3 months ago, Sarah couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without feeling breathless. She felt embarrassed, frustrated and ashamed every time she had to take a break halfway up. But she decided to take control and signed up for our 12-week personal training program. And now she's running 5K every weekend and just signed up for her first half marathon. Her confidence is through the roof. By the way, that is an actual story. So there you go. It's amazing. Let's move into the next one. Johnny was 3 months away from closing his business for good. He felt like a failure, worried about how he'd provide for his family and ashamed to admit he was struggling. But after working with us, he learned how to create a cash flow strategy, streamline his offer and attract new clients. Now he's on track to hit 6 figures this year and he's hiring his first full-time employee. Doesn't that make you feel warm? I read through these and I go, gosh, I'd like to do this too. It's wonderful. The beauty business, because I've had clients in the beauty sector tired of waking up to breakouts that won't go away. You try every product on the shelf, but nothing seems to work. The frustration is real. That's why we created, insert product name here, a gentle, natural formula designed to soothe, clear, and protect your skin overnight. And after 7 days, your skin feels fresh, clear, and smooth. And for the first time, you're actually excited to look in the mirror. Now, that is content that I've actually used on TV shopping on television here in New Zealand and Australia, working with a brand called Kathy Organics that I worked with for a number of years, and it worked. We drove sales, which was fantastic. Education and online courses. Amy was stuck in a 9-to-5 job she hated with no idea how to escape. She felt stuck, uninspired, and worried that she'd be stuck like this forever. Then she signed up for our Career Change Blueprint course. With clear guidance and practical tools, she discovered her dream career path. 6 months later, she's working as a freelance designer, earning more money and finally loving what she does every day. Doesn't that make your heart happy? Financial advisors. Lisa thought she'd never be able to buy her own home. She felt anxious and unsure of how she'd ever afford a deposit while still paying rent. But with the help of our financial planning team, she created a custom savings plan and accessed first home buyer grants. Today, Lisa has the keys to her dream home and the financial confidence to plan her future. And real estate. When Sam and Jess first toured this home, they knew it was the one. They could already imagine family dinners in the open kitchen and summer barbecues on the patio, but they worried it might be out of reach. With our help, they secured pre-approval, navigated the market and submitted a winning offer. Today, Sam and Jess are the proud owners of their dream home and they're ready to make it theirs. Oh, isn't that cute? Go Sam and Jess. And here's the hook and the content from my own website. You can actually look at this on the About page. There was a time when I felt like I had to perform my way through life, putting on a mask to fit in and meet everyone else's expectations. I spent years dimming my light, second-guessing myself and wondering if I was good enough to show up as my authentic self. The fear of being judged was real. On stage, I could deliver lines, but off stage, I battled self-doubt. Sound familiar? Well, everything changed when I embraced the power of my own story. I stopped hiding and started owning my experiences, my journey, and my unique gifts. I discovered that people aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for realness. Today, I teach speakers, leaders, and business owners how to use the same storytelling power to build unshakable confidence, inspire action, and stand out in their industry, whether it's on stage, in a boardroom, or online. I help people own their story and show up as their most authentic, powerful selves. So, what is the practical application of this? When I'm creating story content, I start with this framework. And then I know I've got that. It's like a good bra and undies, to be fair. It's a good foundation. And so that means that in any given situation, if I've got my story straight first, I can elaborate when I'm in front of people. So I can add in more detail based on the non-verbal cues that I see. So when people are nodding or starting to lean in, I can give them more. Or I can keep it that succinct and I can put that into video content or written content or use it for a social media post. And it works 100% of the time. Every time I go into a sales call and I share stories that are relevant, both of my journey and the transformation I've gone through, which is what I coach now, and then I share a story of people that I have coached and the results that they've got, the sale has done itself. Usually, people will then ask me, so how can we work together? The sale's literally done itself. I call this the art of unselling. And that's the third book that I'll be releasing in February. I'm so excited. And it talks about the journeys of, the journey of stories that I've used and lessons that I've learned about sales. And I'm super excited to share that with you. So, as I've said, where should this method be delivered? And I've got a screen. It's this simple. I want you to start, first of all, craft a really simple pitch or a simple story that you could use. Try it out in real life. I know that you may be taking some time off right now if you're not a workaholic like me, but try it out. Start trying it with people in your family. Start trying them out with friends. And I challenge you to use your hero story to create a video. And what I want you to do is I want you to upload that video. And if you're working or not working, it does not matter. Because remember, this is applicable for both you to talk about the value that you have and give, and also to be used for case studies and testimonials. You can use it in both different ways. I urge you to create one of these videos and share it on your favorite social media platform, or you can send it to me if you're very private. You can send it to me. And if you share it on your social media platform, I want you to tag me in and I'm going to comment, and then I'm going to reshare it to my social media platforms. So I'm going to help you already as we move into 2025 and thrive in 2025. I'm going to help promote you. That's my commitment to you. If you do the mahi, I'm going to give you some help there. So I would love you to do that. And then, before we finish up, do you have any questions? After all that, do you have any questions? If so, share them in the comments feed and I would love to help. Oh, I can see your concentration faces. I can see some of you having chats to others. I can see some of you just smiling, so yay! Yeah, I can see you guys. You're all good. No questions. No questions. Woohoo! Well, then I'll tell you what, I must have given you everything you needed today. Oh, I love the hero framework. Thank you. Isn't it great? We are all heroes. We don't, and I love that. We don't think H&S is boring, Jeff. There you go. There's Panima and Luke from the UK. I agree. Health and safety can be a lot of fun. It's about how we tell the best stories. And in fact, AA Insurance, they did a whole lot of, it was either AMI or AA Insurance. I think my brain is closed for Christmas today. I'm with you, Tanya. You're okay. But AMI or AA Insurance did a whole lot of really fun-based health and safety content. Some of it was a little bit shocking, but some of it was actually quite fun. And even if you look at a company like like AA Insurance. I'm in one of their adverts, in fact, and they do a lot of fun scenarios and they use the song Born Free as part of their campaign as well. And it's to try and shed a little bit of light and humour to connect people. So stories actually work. And look, if your brain is on holiday already, that is absolutely okay. I am so there with you. What I want to do, though, is I am committed to helping you, because you showed up today. Oh, you love the hero framework as well. It's so good. Because you showed up today, I am committed to helping you in 2025. So the first thing I've already said is if you do a video and you share it, tag me in, and I'm going to reshare it to my networks, because I'm so proud of you for taking the next step. There are other things I can do to help you. If you are really committed to change, but you are terrified of putting yourself out there, grab this book. This is a great place to start. This is my book called She Sells, which is really diving into that topic of imposter syndrome, looking at self-limiting beliefs, and how you can overcome that to step into sales success. While this was originally written for women, the principles are actually universal. Yes, there are genetic changes and societal changes or factors, conditioning that is slightly different from women and how we show up in sales as opposed to men. What I'm trying to do very gently is break down all of that stuff, because at the core of it, humans still have the same vulnerabilities, whether we are male or female or however we identify. And it is really important to find your authentic self first. Like I said at the beginning, sales success is an inside job, and that's what that book basically addresses. So you can get it on Kindle, or you can buy a hard copy, which will be released by the end of January, and it's great. I've got some people who've already been buying it and reading it, and they're loving it. Oh, and Tanya, that's your holiday reading. And Nicole, I know you've got a copy as well. And thank you. I'm glad you like this mahi too. The other thing too is if you think like, I'm feeling good about myself, I'm ready to go and sell. Boy, oh boy, a Lincoln toy. Have I got a deal for you? The second book, which has just been released on Kindle as well, is called Stories Sell. Now this gives you, this is how geeky I am. I have identified, based on the sales funnel, if you know what the sales funnel is, there are 30 key stories that you could be telling to support your sales process. That's it. 30 that I have identified. And each of them align with the different stages of the sales funnel, the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the conversion stage. And they are all relevant. And using that hero framework and some other frameworks that I put in the book, this will elevate your storytelling success, whether you're in real life, whether you're creating content online. This book has it all. It is a great place to start. If you think you are ready to start doing video content, this is one absolutely worth grabbing. So the whole first part of the book gives you some explanations, and at the end, I summarize it again with the 30 top videos that you should be doing. And one of the things you can do with that book is turn that into a 30-day storytelling challenge for yourself. And I did it, Pete and I did it years and years ago, and we got through to day 7 of our 30-day video challenge, and we were so busy with work that we didn't have any more time to do videos. So it actually works, and the results actually come in a lot faster than you think. Probably before the end of 30 days, you'll be starting to get leads and inquiries. I can hand on heart. Don't quote me on this, but I guarantee it. So I think it's fantastic. And the other thing I'm so excited about is launching from the week of the 13th of January. I am launching my 4-week story selling mastermind group. If you are really committed to sales in 2025 and you want to elevate the way that you speak in real life, you want to elevate the way that you show up online, this workshop will do it. We will be going through all 30 of the stories. You will have access to incredible resources that no one else will get except the people in this mastermind group. This is a small group. I've got a maximum of 12 people. And this is phenomenal because you'll be working in group situations, then you'll be working, it's all done online as well with me facilitating, 2 hours a week for 4 weeks. You'll be working doing peer reviews, and you will be speaking and presenting every single session. So it really gets you on your toes, and you will be generating content fast, and I will teach you how to do that. So if you're one of those people, and I know there's some of you in this group who like to be really, really well prepared, but suddenly you're thrown into a situation where you just have to speak about something, I teach you how to master that. It is unbelievable. I would love for you to join me with that. I have uploaded that into my website. You can scan the QR code to get access to that. There is a special price on there for this mastermind, which is just for you. So it's not available to public. The page that you're going through to, you can't access publicly. So you will only get there if you have this link or that QR code. I would love you to join me from the week of the 13th of January. And again, only limited spaces. The other thing too is hit me up. If you've got somebody you want to do this program with, I'll give you an even better price for 2 of you if you join. But you know, spaces are limited, as we like to say. That's the only sale you'll hear from me. But look, I am really thankful to you for turning up today. Because you turned up, you are showing to me that you are actually really committed to growing in 2025. And like I said, my big word for 2025 is thrive, mostly because it rhymes. So it makes my brain feel nice. But I think, you know, after the last 4 years that we've been through together as a world, I think we need to do more good stuff and we need to see some good business results. So I would love to support you through that process. And like I said, you can join the mastermind, you can download the books. If you want one-on-one coaching, please reach out. I would love to work with you and I'd love to help you, because at the core of it all, you have a gift. Your story is your competitive advantage. Your story is your uniqueness. No one else has your story. And as Dr. Seuss said, there is no one in this world who is youer than you. Your story, your skills, your expertise could be the gap in somebody else's pathway to success. So why not share it? So in closing today, I hope you've got some value. I really thank you for joining me. I want to say a big shout out to Pete, who is behind the scenes here, who has been my tech support and makes all of this possible so I can do my dancing around and get really excited. And I want to thank you again for showing up, because I can't do this without an audience. So thank you for supporting me. Remember, stories matter. So from today onwards, my friends, use that framework and make your message meaningful. Right, my name is Monique Bradley, call Monique Bradley Tōka Whenua. Here, kai kōrero aho. I am a storyteller and so are you. Oh, I can't get the mastermind group code to work. That's all right. I'm going to send it out via email as well for anybody who's interested. But thank you all. Have a wonderful afternoon and stay magnificent. Nice to see you. Ka kite anō e noho rā.